Yes, people, what's happening? Welcome back to the channel and welcome to the match preview for Chelsea versus Tottenham. London derby tomorrow. Pride of London at stake. Must win for both clubs if they want to realise their European aspirations. Spurs going for the Champions League. Us just trying to secure that 7th place for the Conference League. Loads and loads to dive into. We've got 14 players out. Yes, you heard that right. 14 players missing for tomorrow's game at Stamford Bridge. Thiago Silva, which we knew about, added to the injury list from the Villa game. And Axel Disasi has joined him there as well. So we're keeping up our run of conceding a minimum of 2 goals every game and then picking up a minimum of 2 injuries between each game. So yeah, we're pretty consistent there, lacking in consistency in other areas, but at least we're consistent on the amount of goals we concede and the amount of injuries that we pick up. We've got all the latest in regards to the Spurs game, injury issues, quite a lot of transfer news as well. Chelsea reportedly got a desire to sign a new goalkeeper. This some have been linked with Jordan Pickford and Aaron Ramsdale. We've got the latest on Thiago Silva's future. Obviously, Ian Maatsen's dad has been speaking out and taking a bit of a swipe at the club as well. We're going to dive into all that. So yeah, people, there's plenty of stuff to get stuck into. So big up to everyone that is locked in. Big up to everyone who's already smashed the like button. Guys, make sure you're running those likes up. Subscribe if you're new around here. All that good stuff. You people know exactly what to do. And let's say hello to a few people in the chat, and then we'll dive into things. What's going on at training ground needs to be investigated. Yep, no, absolutely. I think, I've said many times, yes, it's an important summer in terms of transfers and whatnot. But the reality of the situation is the single most important thing we can do is get to the bottom of these injury issues and make sure they don't happen again next season. That's far more important than any player coming through the door. Tottenham win or Ange sacking starts. Well, it won't, but you'll get some Spurs fans that probably will say that. It's not tonight. I'm afraid of this game with Silva and Disasi out. Yeah, we're going to get into that. I mean, it's going to be Badiashile and Chalobah at the back. Let's wait and see how that goes. No, we can't. We've been saying that for a number of games now. We need to win all our remaining games to give ourselves a chance of securing European football. That is the best chance we have of doing it, is by winning all five of our remaining games. Are we going to do that? Who knows? Part of me feels you wouldn't put it against this Chelsea side because it's the sort of team that we are. Another part of me feels we could only win 1 or 2. Let's wait and see. No, the press conference is just a set time. It's like a time that's put out there. Obviously, they come when they finish training. Training don't always finish at the same time. It's not that big a deal. Let's wait and see if Tuchel does end up at Man United. Man United are a mess. They've still got a lot of stuff that needs sorting out. Yeah, they're sorting out the off-pitch side of things, getting some appointments in place, but that doesn't transfer to success on the pitch instantly. They're still a long way off from being a serious club. What else is coming in? McTominay, yeah, great. Well, yeah, people can enjoy those guys. Enough is enough. Look, it's not about the medical team. It's no one person is solely responsible for what's going on with the injuries. Medical department always seems to be the port of call that gets blamed. Yes, if players have been rushed back too quickly, that is the fault of the medical department, absolutely. But we can't say with every single one of these injuries that we're picking up that it's the fault of the medical department, because these are not all players that have been rushed back from injuries. So, yeah, look, obviously the medical department is part of it, but this idea that it's solely down to the medical department is just not correct in my view. What else is going on? Yes, big up. If we look, well, to be honest, mate, even if we win, we still might not get Europe. But yeah, anything other than a win is curtains for us in terms of Europe. We have to win. The Villa game was must win. But yeah, as I said, every game is must win now until the end of the season if we're going to qualify for any form of European football next season. That is the reality of the matter, guys. Yeah, the only 2 senior centre-backs that we've got fit. So yeah, it is going to be those 2. Go for Svilla. Don't know. I'm not sure who that is. When Silva leaves, I hope we get some experience to replace him. I think everyone feels that. Whether that happens or not, who knows? No, the fan base absolutely respects him. The fan base love Thiago Silva. That relationship is reciprocated between the pair of us, between both parties. Yeah, no, Silva's not disrespected in the amongst the Chelsea fan base whatsoever. Absolutely not. I'm not sure. I'm not sure where that's come from. We also have news from Conor Gallagher as well. So yeah, we're going to dive into that. Levi Cole and Christopher Nkunku intake. I would suggest very unlikely. It's really annoying that no one even bothered asking that question in the press conference whether either of them would be available at all. Reece James is also now back in full team training, but I see the likelihood of any of those guys being involved tomorrow as slim to none. Very outside chance of the bench, in my opinion. But no, I can't see that happening. But it would have been nice. It would have been nice if someone had bothered to ask that question. Yes, big up, big up. Yeah, I'll have a look at that now. Gallagher is fit. He's not had a problem. Hasn't got a problem. No, right now that's how I see. He hasn't been training for ages. He's only recently gone into full team training. He's been in partial team training for maybe a week or a few days, certainly. Yeah, let's wait and see. But no, I don't think so. Yes, big up, big up. As much as I don't rate Gallagher, we should keep him. Yeah, we absolutely should keep him. As a squad player, 100%. Do you think Gusto will be back for the West Ham game? That's reportedly the aim, but again, who knows? We'll have to wait and see. There's a few days, Thursday, Friday. There's about 3 days, and 4 days really, because the West Ham game's on Sunday. He's got 3 or 4 days to sort of get himself together and make some progress. No, James is full team training. I'm pretty sure James is full team training now. Oh no, James is partial. Sorry, Colwell and Nkunku is full team training. But I don't see how any of those guys are involved at all. In my opinion, I just don't see that happening. No, well, he obviously shouldn't. Well, nothing's confirmed on that front. There is obviously reported interest there. And I think if Tuchel was offered the opportunity to go to Man United, then yeah, that's certainly an opportunity that he would absolutely take. Yeah, Palmer's all good. I agree on that front. Absolutely agree on that front. Absolutely agree. But again, footballers want to play, and these guys will have aspirations of going to the Euros, and they'll want to prove that they're fit and sort of make a last-ditch effort to show their national team managers that they should be on the plane to Germany this summer. So yeah, from a selfish Chelsea perspective, yeah, I don't want to see these guys this season, but you can understand from an individual perspective that they'll want to play and prove their worth to their national team so they can jump on the plane for the tournament this summer. Yes, big up. Guys, 40 people in the building, only 17 likes. We need to smash those likes up. Hit that thumbs up button, guys. It's free. It takes seconds. Really helps out with the algorithm. So make sure you are doing that. Yeah, no excuses not to, guys. Smash that like button and subscribe as well. But let's get the likes up. It's free and it takes seconds of your time. So I would really, really appreciate it. We're going to get into that one. In a sec. Guys, there's so much coming in. Let's start with this. Let's start with this Gallagher stuff then. So, reportedly, we know that Spurs are targeting Conor Gallagher. We've seen that. But let's bring this one up. Chelsea fans will reveal a Conor Gallagher banner at tomorrow's match versus Tottenham. It will say Chelsea since birth. This is ahead of a potential Tottenham swoop for the player this summer. Yeah, look, there's nothing for Gallagher to sign. We know that. I'm almost certain that he wouldn't join Tottenham. I don't know where he would go if he does genuinely leave the club in the summer. There's nothing on the table for him to sign. He's been offered nothing. He should be he should be offered a new deal. I don't think that can be disputed whatsoever, in my opinion. He should be part of the Chelsea squad going forward. There is a place for him in the squad moving forwards, in whatever capacity that might be. You need to keep players around the club that have been there they understand, they've got the DNA of the club, running through them. They get what it means to play for Chelsea, always put a shift in, understand what it means to play for the badge, and all that sort of stuff. Am I saying that Gallagher should be a regular starter week in, week out for Chelsea over the next few years? No, I'm not saying that. Has he absolutely got a role to play within the Chelsea squad? Of course he does. Of course he does. And I think something like this, the banner, I don't have an issue with it at all. Will perhaps go some way to showing the ownership that, how the fans feel about him, how much he's valued by the supporters, and the important role that he has played for the club this season. Whatever your thoughts are on Conor Gallagher, whether you like him as a player or not, you cannot deny that he has massively contributed to Chelsea this season. He's been arguably the most consistent midfield performer for the club, and he's probably been in the club's top 3 performers across the course of this campaign, alongside Cole Palmer and Malo Gusto. I don't think that's up for debate, in my view. I think obviously Chelsea are desperate to sell him. Yeah, but he's not signed a new deal, and reports suggesting that he wants 150k are wide of the mark. Yes, he deserves a new contract. I think his current contract is about, is 50k a week, I think, which in footballing terms is nothing whatsoever. Absolutely deserves a pay rise. Deserves some sort of parity with players of a similar ability at the club. There's no denying that. And yeah, he can contribute moving forwards and it can be a huge part of the squad. I really don't see why, other than the fact purely financial. We know it's purely financial. Yeah, mate, great. McTominay off to Germany, thanks. Maybe Poch will be sacked if we don't do well. I'm not too sure what's happening there. But again, you can look at potential Newcastle interest in Gallagher as well. It's been reported that they have been keeping an eye on the situation. Depending if anyone pays the £100 million release clause for Bruno Guimaraes this summer, Gallagher could certainly be an option for them there. Or they could just be looking to add more depth to their team, and he could still be an option for them anyway. And I think he would do very well there. But at the end of the day, at the end of the day, this is obviously, to show Conor how much he's loved by the fans, and maybe to try and convince the ownership that they're making a mistake here by trying to sell him, and sit down, have talks, sign a new contract, and we move on. If Gallagher wasn't English and from the academy, then and he's performing how he's performing, then quite simply, there's no conversation surrounding his future whatsoever. He would have already been offered a new contract. He would have signed it, and he would have committed his future to Chelsea for the next 4 or 5 years. The reality is they're using Conor Gallagher, like with other players, as a get out of jail card for the mistakes that have been made in the transfer market, and they're panicking, and they've got to sell off some of the academy products for pure profit on the books to get themselves out of this mess. That's the reality of the situation. That's where we're at, people. That is where we're at. It's the principle that it sets. It's poor in my view. I think it really is. It's not reading the room. Other than financially, there's no need for him to be sold. And ultimately, you can't just sell off your best academy products to cover up for you being incompetent and making expensive mistake after expensive mistake in the transfer window. Clubs' academy players shouldn't be sacrificed at the expense at the expense of players that have been expensively signed, and the club have got it wrong. That's the reality of the situation. But let's wait and see what happens with Gallagher. But as the season draws closer to its conclusion, I think it's becoming very, very clear, very, very clear that Chelsea haven't really got any plans at all to offer Conor Gallagher a new deal. And right now, if I was him, it'd be a massive 2 fingers up to the club. If you're not going to offer me anything, I'm going to run my contract down and I'm going to leave on a free and see how you like that. And do you know what? Who could blame him in that situation if he were to do that? You can't just run people out of town because you've made a mistake in the transfer market and you're trying to cover up for it now. Gallagher's under contract until 2025. He's well within his rights to stay at Chelsea for as long as he's got a contract. And if I was him, if there's no sign of a new deal being offered, I'd be running my deal down and leaving on a free, as a bit of a fuck you to the ownership, because the way that we're being that certain players are treated at Chelsea is wrong. We saw it with Mason Mount, whether you agree or disagree. Obviously, ultimately, I don't think it's really mattered that much that he's gone, but it's the principle that it sets that, in consecutive summers now, we're set to lose, top academy players. And, in situations that quite frankly shouldn't be occurring. If it was for footballing reasons, I wouldn't have as much of an issue with it, But the reality is, it's not for footballing reasons. It is for financial reasons, and we're just using him as a get out of jail card for the expensive mistakes that have been made by the club in the transfer market. So let's wait and see what happens with Conor Gallagher. There'll be the banner at the ground tomorrow night. I know they're trying to help, but if you actually having thought about it, in hindsight, is it actually that helpful? Perhaps it's going to make people look a little bit stupid in a few weeks' time, because as much as we don't want it, we all know what's happening here. And the reality is, I think little to nothing is going to change that. But yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, I think the writing on the wall has been on the wall for Conor Gallagher for a while now. It's a shame, but I think I'm resigned to the fact that his days at Chelsea are numbered. That's the yes, big up. Appreciate the support. I'd love you guys to finish in the top 4. We normally do pretty well against Spurs, so yeah. Let's. I'm sure we can potentially do you a favour. We have got a good record against them, despite our poor form in general. So yeah, hopefully we can obviously win for our sake, and we can do you a favour at the same time. Then all the better. It's going to be full of academy players. Simple as that. The bench tomorrow. But let's move away from this Gallagher stuff. We spent a long time talking about it in general. Spent a long time talking about it over the course of the season. Let's quickly move on to a little bit about Ian Maatsen, because obviously he's preparing for the first leg of the Champions League semi-final tonight. Borussia Dortmund versus Paris Saint-Germain. And his dad's been speaking. And do you know what? Fair play to him, because what he's saying is facts. Absolute facts. He's not saying anything wrong. Obviously, he's confirmed now that Dortmund are working to keep Maatsen on a permanent basis. He's saying we are working on him staying. The clubs have to fight it out among themselves. Ian is developing well here, and things are not going well at Chelsea since they changed ownership. Agreed. At Chelsea, a lot revolves around money. Agreed. Which sometimes seems more important than the club's interest. Also agreed. And he goes on to add that they've got more options than just Chelsea and Dortmund, but Dortmund has proven to be a good restart. Nizar Kinsella also reporting that if Alphonso Davies leaves Bayern Munich for Real Madrid or someone else this summer, then Ian Maatsen could be looked at as a possibility for the left-back slot at Bayern Munich. Now, look, ultimately for me, Maatsen will leave. We'll get £35 million for him. And you could argue that his dad's saying this, trying to just like drum up more interest in his son, saying there's more options out there. The more people you bring to the table, then, the more money potentially that Maatsen could make if it starts becoming who can offer the most wages and whatnot. I think it's a shame personally for me that we seem to be looking like we're going to make yet another mistake in the transfer market. Ian Maatsen is exactly the sort of player that we'd be looking to sign if we didn't already own him. You can know full well that if Ian Maatsen was a Borussia Dortmund player doing this, and then you can guarantee that Chelsea would be interested in signing him. So that again kind of makes a bit of a mockery of the situation, the crazy situation that we find ourselves in here. But what Maatsen's saying, what Maatsen's dad said is facts. Right now Chelsea do seem to be very money orientated, and it comes across as more important than club matters. And that's not a good perception to be given off. And I think it's clear that people are picking up on that. I think the biggest shame for me is that, look, would Maatsen have worked out at Chelsea? Who knows? But my biggest disappointment around the whole situation is the fact that even with Ben Chilwell and Mark Correa both injured, he was still never given a go at left back to show what he could do. If he was given a go and it was and he showed that, do you know what, he doesn't really have it, and the level was too much for him, or he wasn't good enough for Chelsea or whatever, you hold your hands up and go, do you know what, fine, we gave him an opportunity, and it was decided that we didn't feel he was going to be good enough. You could be like, do you know what? Okay, fine. You hold your hands up, whether you agree or disagree. He was given a run. The fact he was never given a run is what disappoints me the most. And you've seen he's gone to Germany. He's doing it in the Champions League. He's a Champions League semi-finalist. And I just look at it, and it's just more than anything, it's disappointing. But ultimately, look, whether Pochettino had a say in it or not is neither here nor there. I think he made his stance pretty clear by not playing Maatsen. Maatsen made one Premier League start in the first half of the season, and that was against Crystal Palace after Christmas. Made 15 appearances in total. And I think it totaled less than 400 minutes. So yeah, he wasn't given a fair chance. I feel that he should have been. But ultimately, what Maatsen's dad is saying is not wrong, and Chelsea are now picking up a reputation under this ownership as a club that seems more interested in money than the important matters on the pitch and looking after players. And that for me is a bit of a concern. I don't know if look. Ultimately, Poch didn't give him a chance. That's on the manager. He obviously deemed him not to be good enough. Well, I think the club could definitely sell Chilwell or Cucurella this summer if they wanted to. The reason why Maatsen appeals is because he's pure profit at the end of the day. That's the reality. If Maatsen wasn't an academy graduate, then would he have left this summer? Perhaps not. I don't know. That's reportedly what might happen. But yeah, look, Maatsen's dad is speaking facts there. And yeah, hopefully the club can try and obviously shake that reputation off, because it's not a reputation you want, as a club that's more bothered by financial matters than the actual best interests of the club. Is it in Chelsea's best interests to keep in Maatsen? You could argue either way, but the fact that the main reason that he's going to be moved on is financial, then you have to say that right now they're purely thinking of this from a money basis rather than what Maatsen can offer on the pitch. And as I said, right now Chelsea under this ownership are profit off the pitch rather than how profitable players can be on the pitch for the club. Look, we're not privy to the ins and outs of what's going on at the club on a day-to-day basis and whatnot. But yeah, the fact he didn't get an opportunity clearly shows that the manager didn't rate him. And ultimately, even if the manager did rate him and he was playing well, for example, like Conor Gallagher is doing for us, we'd still be the same situation this summer anyway. We know full well that if Maatsen was in Gallagher's situation, it would be the same. It would be the same thing. People would want him to stay, but the club wouldn't be asked about what the fans think, because all they're seeing is the pound signs in the eyes and thinking, "Oh, this is pure profit on the books, and this is going to help us get out of the financial mess that we currently find ourselves in." That's where we are. Ourselves, would you consider Ian, Trev, or others as part of a title-winning team? As a squad, I think so. You know, every team has won titles with squad players. You know, Fabian Delph won a title at Man City, playing a large part of the season at right back. You look at Chelsea's title-winning squads. You see players like in Mourinho's first years when Yuri Yarasik, Alexei Schmertin, Thiago, like these guys in midfield, Jeremy, not playing that often, maybe contributing 14, 15 games a season. Absolutely part of a squad. Part of a title-winning first 11, you would probably say no at this point in time. But part of a title-winning squad, or part of a squad that can win stuff, I think you'd have to say yes. Like, you telling me that Ian Maatsen wouldn't be part of a Chelsea squad that would win stuff? I think personally that would absolutely be the case. I think he could full well be part of a Chelsea squad that win stuff. But yeah, look, it's not to be with Maatsen. He'll be sold in the summer, whether he goes to Dortmund, whether he goes to Bayern Munich, or whether he goes elsewhere. Chelsea will get their £35 million for him, and we move on. My biggest regret is just the fact that he never got given an opportunity. But do you know what it is? What it is? We can't dwell on it. We're in a situation that we're in. The club's being run the way it is, and maybe we're going to have to get used to this, because I think more of this is going to potentially be happening. But let's move away from Ian Maatsen, guys, and let's focus a little bit more on the goalkeeping situation, because Chelsea have been linked with a number of goalkeepers for some reason. And again, we've had links to Aaron Ramsdale and Jordan Pickford today. According to Sammy Mockbell, who's a very good journalist for the Daily Mail, Chelsea apparently have a desire to sign a new goalkeeper this summer and are monitoring Aaron Ramsdale with interest. TalkSport have also reported today that Chelsea have an interest in Jordan Pickford, who may have to be sold by Everton if the proposed takeover at Goodison Park falls through for whatever reasons. Now, heading into the summer, I would have said that a goalkeeper is not a priority at Chelsea. We signed, 3 goalkeepers last summer? We signed Petrovic, Gabriel Slonina, or did we sign Slonina the summer before? We definitely signed 2 goalkeepers last summer anyway. We signed Petrovic and Sanchez, and obviously Kepa went on loan to Real Madrid to cover for Thibaut Courtois' ACL injury. Now, at the time, I felt that we should have done more to get a better goalkeeper. Robert Sanchez, for me, was Brighton's third choice goalkeeper last season. He has proven under Graham Potter at Brighton that he can certainly be a very good goalkeeper. But I'm surprised that having signed 2 goalkeepers last summer, if Chelsea are genuinely interested in going to sign another goalkeeper. That for me means that someone must be leaving. Slonina, we know, is a long-term project. He'll go on loan somewhere. We know that Kepa's going to leave. He's got 1 year left on his contract. He's not going to be offered a new deal. And that leaves us with Sanchez and Petrovic, and then Bettinelli there for the vibes as third choice keeper. No problem with that one whatsoever. But if Chelsea are interested in a goalkeeper, then that would suggest to me that we are looking at a situation where the club are either not happy with Petrovic or Sanchez. And out of the 2, you'd have to suggest that they wouldn't be happy with Sanchez. Petrovic has come in as a 24-year-old from the MLS, and he's done very well. You know, I think he's made 25, 26 odd appearances this season. And he's impressed when he's been between the sticks. Sanchez, having had a decent-ish start, has made quite a few errors. He's nervy when he's on the ball. He makes the fans feel nervous. I think he makes the players nervous as well. I could only think that if this is true, that in order to make space for another goalkeeper, Chelsea would be a year after signing Robert Sanchez for 20 million, be then looking to move him on to potentially bring in another goalkeeper, which would then be admitting that we made a mistake by signing Sanchez. But Sanchez, we spent 20 million quid on. We gave him a 7-year contract. We're not going to get anywhere near 20 million quid for him if we try and sell him in the summer. And he's got the security of that contract. So I'm not suggesting that this is being made up because there's obviously some basis to it from somewhere. But for me, I can't understand the thought process behind it and the logic. And I don't really see how it really makes sense. For me, goalkeeper's not a priority this summer, but if an opportunity presented itself that was too good to say no to a top quality goalkeeper, then obviously you take it. But someone like Aaron Ramsdale or Jordan Pickford, with the greatest of respect, is not moving the needle enough or at all in the goalkeeping department. So yeah, it's strange. It's strange to me. Obviously, we know Ramsdale's going to be linked with clubs because of his situation at Arsenal. And look, Pickford's been linked to Chelsea in the past before. This is not new links. Chelsea have been linked with Jordan Pickford before. It doesn't really make sense. If we genuinely wanted Pickford, we could have tried to sign him last summer from Everton. If we wanted Ramsdale, we could have maybe tried last summer. I'm not really too sure about what's going on here at the moment, but we are where we are. And yeah, the goalkeeping one's a strange situation because we signed 2 last summer. So why do we suddenly then sell someone we signed last summer to then bring someone else in? And for me, is Ramsdale or Pickford, which is just the 2 names given here, are there a considerable upgrade on Robert Sanchez? Are you thinking, fuck, that's a massive upgrade in the goalkeeping department? Are we looking at going from like Sanchez being an iPhone 7? Are we then going to like an iPhone 14 with Jordan Pickford? He's probably better, but is he loads better? No, probably not. And the same with Ramsdale. So yeah, I just find these links to goalkeepers very strange because we signed 2 last summer. And then we're suddenly linked with signing another goalkeeper this summer. I don't get it. I really don't. And look, we know what we need to do this summer. We know exactly what we need to do. So yeah, I just I just don't understand. I just don't understand the links. I really don't get it. I'm not sure where they're coming from. And from a Chelsea perspective, it doesn't make sense. We've got 2 goalkeepers. We know what we need to address this window. A goalkeeper is definitely not a priority. Somewhere down the line, I think it absolutely could be could be something that's changed in a few windows' time. Sure, but this summer, absolutely not a priority. Can Chelsea do better in goal? Yeah, they can. Is it a priority this summer? No, it's not. I think the priorities for me, as has been stated many times by various different people, is a centre forward, a centre midfield, a centre forward, a centre back, and a left back. I think Petrovic is good enough to be a number 1. In my opinion, this is just his first season in England. I think he can absolutely can become a number 1. Sanchez, I'm a little bit less convinced on. I don't want to fully write someone off after less than a season, but from the evidence we've seen so far, I'm not too sure. I'm not too sure he's that guy to be a long-term number 1 at Chelsea. But yeah, it's certainly something that doesn't need to be addressed in the immediate future. So yeah, I really don't know. I really don't know. Leno is better than these 2. I mean, I'm not sure about that. Kobel's a decent keeper. We need number 1, and Petrovic can be a number 2. Yeah, but look, I think right now, I think going forwards, we probably do need a number 1. But I think this, as soon as this next window, I don't think so personally. That's just my view on the matter. Yep, and I think for me, I think those are the 3 main priorities. And then any other positions, I think will be like a 1 in, 1 out basis. That's my opinion and thoughts on the summer window. Of course, football's fluid and ever changing, so that could be different come the start of the window or something like that. But right now, for me, the goalkeeper is not a priority for Chelsea in my opinion. I don't want Ramsdale. I don't want him. He's not good. Fair enough. Petrovic should be the cup goalkeeper like Ortega at City, but Petrovic is better than Sanchez. So, yeah, there's a situation that we absolutely need to address. Look, if Gallagher ends up going, I don't know if he'll be replaced or not because we've got Romeo Lavia. Maybe I don't know what's going to happen with the likes of Leslie Ugochukwu and Andre Santos. I'd imagine Ugochukwu will go on loan potentially. Andre Santos maybe another loan. Do we need another midfield player or do we trust one of these young guys we've bought? That's the big thing. Look, mathematically, it's still possible. The reality for me is I don't think we will. I think it's going to require us to win all 5 of our remaining matches, which is a huge ask. And then it's going to also require teams ahead of us to drop points, which, look, it could happen. But for me, I think the reality of the situation is I think at best we'll get Conference League. But even that's a bit of a long shot right now. If I had to say right now, as much as it pains me, at this very point, I think we will probably miss out on European football next season. That's just my hunch right now. To be honest, we didn't lose games just because Petrovic had a bad game. No, we didn't. I look at the games that Petrovic has played, and I don't look at any of those and think that, oh, he was at fault for that. That was his fault as to why we dropped points or as to why we lost. Again, very expensive, and I know there were links to him last summer, but yeah, there's been nothing new on him recently at all. Well, look, I hope so as well, but I think the reality is when we're looking for a top quality forward, unless we're going to be buying Benjamin Sesko, who's got a 42, 43 million pound release clause, then we are going to be looking at spending around that amount of money on a centre forward. This is just the reality. This is just the reality of the situation, people. That is what we're looking at right now. Also, what I'm looking at is 75 people in the building. Big up to every single one of you. I'm only seeing 44 likes, though. That needs to move on up. That needs to go up, guys. Smash that thumbs up button. It's free. It massively helps out the channel with and boosts the content within the algorithm, gets more eyes on it. So, yeah, guys, smash that thumbs up button. 75 in the building, 44 likes. There's no way everyone in here has smashed that like. So let's get this up to 50 and beyond. Big yourselves up, people. It's light work for the community. So let's make sure you are doing that, guys. Needs to be done. And whilst you're at it, hit that subscribe button as well. We are heading towards 9,000 subscribers. So each and every single subscriber is greatly appreciated. You're all highly valued by myself. So yeah, please, if you're locked in now, you're not subscribed, hit that button. There's no excuses not to. Not asking for any money. I like Ramsdale, but I would give Petrovic another season. I agree. Ramsdale, no for me. In my opinion, there won't be the triple figure moves next transfer window. Maybe just Osimhen. All clubs watch their spending. Yeah, I don't think we'll see as many expensive transfers, this summer because clubs are obviously wary. But where there's release clauses, if clubs want a player and they find a way, then they'll have to pay the big dollar. What's your thoughts on Ruben Amorim? Again, would be a gamble. I like him. He's done good work at Sporting Lisbon, but let's not pretend and make out that he'd be some sort of transformative saviour coming into Chelsea. I think he would very much be encountering a lot of the similar problems that Pochettino has encountered this season. So, yeah, we need a big framed guy as keeper like Petr Cech. Let's wait and see. Look, I think Ruben Amorim's a talented manager, but yeah, I think when people sort of speak about potential managers that could come in, a lot of people are like taking a very simplistic view. Being in charge of a big football club is much more than just tactics, and I don't think people are potentially realizing that. But look, that's my thoughts on a goalkeeping situation. I'd be very surprised if Chelsea moved for a goalkeeper this summer. But you know what? I think we've learned under Todd Boehly and Clearlake, particularly when it comes to transfer windows, never say never with Chelsea on that front. But what else have we got going on, people? I think I had some more transfer news to go through, and I can't remember it. Thiago Silva has got a contract from Thiago Silva's got a contract offer from Fluminense, apparently. So again, it looks like his future could be in Brazil. I think we sort of knew that. Fabrizio Romano reporting that Thiago Silva has been received. Fluminense have offered a formal contract proposal to bring Thiago Silva back to Brazil. The contract is almost ready. Thiago will take his time to decide between Europe and Brazil with several options on the table. In any case, Thiago's kids will stay at Chelsea. So I think wherever Silva goes in his career next, his children are going to remain in London. I presume that means his wife will also remain in London. TNT Sports in Brazil We're also reporting that apparently Thiago Silva's got 3 proposals from clubs in London. Now, I'm not sure what those clubs would be. Obviously, he's not going to be going to Tottenham. Not going to go to Brentford. I think Crystal Palace would be a bit of an odd fit. I couldn't envision that. I think options for me personally, if I'm looking at it, and if this is to be true, then I would say Fulham are up there. I wouldn't be surprised if Willian was potentially having a word with him. I think Fulham would be up there. I think West Ham potentially could be up there, and I think maybe Arsenal could be up there. Although I'm not really too sure why they would potentially look at going for him. But yeah, that'd be if I had to say the 3 London clubs, if this is believed to be true, I would say West Ham, Fulham, and Arsenal. I'd say if he does decide to stay in London, which I still think is a big if, I think Fulham would potentially be the most likely. The Brazilian connections, Willian, Andreas Pereira, the Portuguese-speaking Marco Silva, wouldn't have to move house. Traveling would hardly be any different whatsoever. But ultimately, for me, I think he will end up returning to Brazil. I think that's kind of always been in his thinking, to end his career where he started it at Fluminense. It would make the most sense, but ultimately, wherever he goes, his legacy will always remain intact at Chelsea. It's as simple as that. So yeah, Thiago Silva has received a formal proposal from Fluminense to go back to Brazil, and apparently he also has 3 offers on the table from London clubs. 3 proposals, if that report is to be believed. So let's wait and see what the future holds with Thiago Silva. He, of course, will be missing the Spurs game tomorrow. He's missing the Spurs game tomorrow. So yeah, he's one of the 14 players that's out. So let's wait and see what the future holds for the great man. But yeah, he has got an offer on the table from Fluminense. Let's see what else people are saying. Silva in a Fulham shirt and Arsenal shirt would be so horrible. Fair enough. Gets to deal with a peanut budget, loses top players to sustain the cash. Maybe he wants to follow Conte, prove what he can do. I believe that some of our players are capable of coming. What do you think of Grealish to Chelsea? Again, reported internal discussions have taken place. Doesn't mean a deal was going to happen. It just means a player that's been discussed internally. Again, it would be on the proviso that someone would be leaving. There's no space just to bring Grealish in with the current squad as it is. So someone would have to leave. In principle, I wouldn't be against that move. I like Jack Grealish. I think he's a very good player. I think obviously he's very different to the Grealish that was at Aston Villa. And I think it's important when judging Grealish not to just look at the Manchester City Grealish, because Pep's asking him to play in a very specific way. He's not got that freedom that he had at Villa to go and make things happen. He's still done very well at Manchester City. Let's make no mistake about it. A key part of that treble-winning team. And look, if he were to come to Chelsea, I would back that move. Again, let's be honest, I think it's a million miles away from happening. I'd be very surprised if he even left Manchester City, in all honesty. But yeah, in theory, that is a move that I would absolutely be happy to get behind. That's for sure, people. That is for sure. I believe that some of our players are not as injured as said and are capable of playing, but I feel that the trainers are telling them not to play. Look, I think there's definitely an erring on the side of caution for sure. If it was a life or death situation, could some of these players play some part? You could probably say yes, but I think right now we're not in a life and death situation. I think the season's virtually done, is pretty much gone, excuse me, yeah. Well, we need to see what we can do in terms of preseason, and see what we can do in the summer to make sure that these injury issues don't keep reoccurring, because we absolutely can't afford for that to happen. Training methods maybe making the players injured. I think that's definitely a contributing factor. That's something that has to be looked into. Regardless of his wages, no, I don't even know what City would be asking for him. He signed a 6-year contract when he joined. He'll be halfway through it at the end of this season. It'll be 3 years left on the contract. He'd be 27, 28. there'd be some resale value there. I think you're looking at upwards of £60 million. I really do. Which, yeah, I don't think Chelsea are in a position to be spending that on a wide player. I really don't. I really don't see that at all. Would I take Varane on a free? An aging, injury-prone centre-half? No, probably not. If it was a fully fit Varane without the injury issues, then I would say yes in a heartbeat. But this version of Varane, who's got a lot of injury problems, is not for me, not the one. Would it be okay if Bruno joined the Blues? No, I mean, I don't know. But yeah, that is the latest on Thiago Silva's future. Last thing on sort of signings and stuff before we do get into the game. Again, Sammy Mockbell from this same podcast saying that his understanding is Chelsea have not signed a single player Pochettino has asked for or recommended. Now, that shouldn't come as a huge surprise in my opinion, but it's still, I don't know, it's still kind of an odd one for me, because it goes to show that these directors in this recruitment department seemingly don't give a fuck what the manager thinks. And they're just going to sign whoever they want regardless. It's almost like sort of for their ego, as it were. You know, look, you can argue about should a manager be involved in recruitment at all. His job should be to coach the team, and I can see that point of view 100%. Of course, I can see that point of view, but to actively ignore a manager and to not listen to players that he might have asked for, or for not even to take into consideration any players he's recommended, doesn't really sit well with me. I think, look, you can argue that Chelsea are building a squad in a certain way, and you get a manager in that fits the way you're building that squad. I absolutely hear that. But if this is your manager for, say, at least next season minimum, potentially, would have been here 2 years, and the fact that he knows the squad, he's been working with it day in, day out, and if he's suggesting certain players that he would like and thinks would make a difference, or players that he's recommended, and that's being actively ignored, then that for me is problematic, and it shows kind of the state that the club is in right now. I think it's a big problem. I think it's an absolutely big problem. Really is. Really is. It really is baffling. I'm not saying that managers should be picking signings left, right, and centre. That is not what I'm getting at all. But the fact that, according to what Sammy Mockbell has been told, is that he's not signed a single player, or that he's asked for, or has been recommended, goes to show that there's no flexibility from the recruitment department to give the manager anything that he recommends or anything that he might want. And that, for me, is a dangerous precedent to set, because is any manager going to come in to manage Chelsea when seemingly whatever they say in regards to player transfers doesn't mean anything, and it's going to actively be ignored? I think that's a major problem. I think that's a major problem. And yeah, that doesn't sit well with me. It really doesn't sit well. I think that's a huge problem. Yeah, I really do. But yeah, it is what it is. Let's see if Poch is here this summer. Let's see who comes in the summer window. So yeah, what have we got in the chat coming in here? Yeah, I've gone through that. What he was saying was facts and the truth. There's no denying that. Guys, 67 in the building, 58 likes. Let's bump these likes up to at least 70 likes if we can. So keep smashing that thumbs up button and keep hitting that subscribe button as well, guys. Closing in ever closer to 9,000 subscribers. Every new subscriber helps. So please do that. We're on 8,645. Let's try and get this to 8,650 before the stream is done. So let's see if we can get 5 more of you people to subscribe. And let's get a few more of you smashing that like button. But let's move on. Let's move on. Lots of stuff coming in. Let me have a quick look on Poch's future, and then we will get to the game, people. We will absolutely get to the game. And according to Fabrizio Romano, let's get this up now. Chelsea will take their time to decide on Maurizio Pochettino. Forget about anything being agreed with other coaches in this moment. The priority for Ruben Amorim is to wait for an opportunity, and I think what he means by that is to wait for an opportunity in the Premier League. Look, I think for me, the reality of the situation is I think Pochettino will stay. That is my view, that Poch will stay at Chelsea next season. So, yeah, that's my view on it. Whether people agree or disagree is a different conversation. It's one to watch, Amorim, for sure. But equally, if Amorim doesn't see the right opportunity this summer, I think he could quite happily do another season at Sporting Lisbon. He is 39 years of age. You know, he's still a young manager. If I was going to stick my neck out on the line right now and make a bold prediction, then I would say that there is more chance of Pochettino staying next season and Ruben Amorim potentially takes over in 2025. That might be a hunch that I would make right now as a bit of a bold prediction. That is my thoughts. But just whilst we're on managers, by the way, there's been a kind of a bit of a crazy one doing the rounds that apparently, according to an Italian website, it's claims that a few days ago, using an intermediary who has an excellent relationship with Chelsea, Antonio Conte offered himself to the Blues. The story does not bring any information on Chelsea's response to that offer. Again, no idea how true that is. Would I have Conte back? No, because this couldn't be anything less than it's going to be anything further from a Conte squad. But I mean, I guess it shows that, you know, obviously make a good impression on managers, that three of our best managers ever in Tuchel, Mourinho, and Conte would all return to the club if they were asked to. I think this is a bit of a non-starter, to be honest. I'm not really sure where this has come from. I think Conte is probably more desperation on Conte's part if it's true. I think he's at a stage in his career where he's probably taken a bit of a dent reputation-wise at Tottenham. And he's been out of work since then, if I'm correct. Could he go back to Italy this summer? Yeah, sure. Napoli could certainly be an option for him potentially. But yeah, Conte coming back to Chelsea, I think, is a massive no-no. Yeah, we had some great times under him, won the league, amazing football and whatnot. And it's got that fiery passion. But yeah, ultimately for me, I think this is an absolute non-starter. An absolute non-starter. I really don't see how this has got any legs whatsoever. And I think it's absolutely far more coming from Conte's side than it would be with anything to do with Chelsea. If you look at the managers that Chelsea are appointed, if you look at the managers that Chelsea have been linked with as possible Maurizio Pochettino replacements, none of them, they're all, you know, up and coming managers. None of them are someone like Antonio Conte. So yeah, as much as Conte reportedly might want to try and come back to Chelsea, I think that's a non-starter and it absolutely hasn't got any legs in my opinion. But let's move ahead to the game itself then. Massive game. Chelsea versus Tottenham, London derby at Stamford Bridge. We've got a very good record against Spurs in general, you know, particularly at Stamford Bridge. Won the corresponding fixture 4-1 in that crazy game at the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium earlier in the season. Nicholas Jackson getting a hat-trick. As I said, this is a must-win game in terms of our aspirations to qualify for the not for the Champions League. I wish the Champions League. Our aspirations to qualify for the Conference League. This is one of our games. This is our game in hand on the teams above us. And, having obviously fought back and shown some good fight and put in a decent second half performance against Aston Villa, in the grand scheme of things, it hasn't really helped us in Europe. You can see here, guys, we've played a game less. 7th place right now is the cutoff for European qualification as things stand. If Man United were to win the FA Cup, I'm not sure what would happen there. If Aston Villa win the Conference League and finish 4th, I don't know what happens to those respective Europa League places. But right now, as things stand, 7th place is the cutoff for European football. That is the last available spot to qualify for Europe, and it would get you Conference League. And with the game in hand, we sit 5 points behind Newcastle, which 5 points behind Newcastle, which is not ideal. And if we're being brutally honest, we're going to need to win our 5 remaining games to have any chance of qualifying for Europe. Now, of course, Man United and Newcastle have got to play each other. It's a shame both teams can't lose, because that would be the most preferable outcome on that front. But, if we win all our games, which is a massive if, and let's be real, is probably not going to happen, then I think we could probably still get Europa League. But the reality of the situation is we are, 48, 58 is 10. So we're 6 points behind United with a game in hand. So we win tomorrow, we go 2 points behind Newcastle, 3 points behind Man United. But it's going to require both teams to drop points, and which I think is doable. But the thing that's not potentially doable is for us to also not slip up as well. So, yeah, we need to win tomorrow to keep our faint hopes of Europe alive. A draw, or dare I say a loss, is no good. We're finished in terms of Europe if we do not win this game. It is quite frankly as simple as that. I think the players are aware of the occasion. They know what it means. Pochettino up against his former club, he will know what it means. Timo Werner injured, so he won't be making a return to Stamford Bridge. So there'll be no former players scoring against us like we had with Kai Havertz at Arsenal. Ben Davies is also out, so Spurs are down to their 3rd choice left back, whoever that might be. I don't know if it'll be Emerson Royale playing there or someone else. I'm not too sure. So yeah, we've got a. This is a big opportunity tomorrow. Again, yes, it's tough. We've got 14 players out injured, 14, which is a record high for us. It's a Premier League high right now. We do right now have the most injuries in the league. But we know that Spurs are there to be got at. They play a high line. They're poor at defending set pieces, perhaps even worse than us, to be perfectly honest. They can be got at. We've got pacing behind the likes of Madueke and whatnot, Nicholas Jackson. I think we can certainly cause them problems. Yes, they've got good options in the final third. Son is always a threat. Kulusevski, Maatsen. The quality that they've got there, they can cause us problems. And defensively, we know the problems that we've had this season. It doesn't take a rocket scientist to work those ones out. We have had issues this season, but Spurs are there for the taking. They've got weaknesses which we can absolutely exploit, and we should have that extra fire in the belly. No one should need to be motivated for this game whatsoever. No one should need motivation. If you do need to be motivated for this game, then you're in the wrong job. And we just got to go out there and give it our all. As simple as that. Go out there, give it our all, and that's all you can ask for. But what you have to do is make sure that you compete. We do not want a repeat of the capitulation at Arsenal. You turn up, you compete, you fight for the shirt, and you give 110% for 90 minutes. You don't take your foot off the gas. You don't let your head drop. You don't give up. Those are the non-negotiables that you expect from a London derby. It's as simple as that. Absolutely as simple as that. You do not give up. You really don't. In terms of a team lineup, I'm going to dive into that. There's not really much in terms of the team that is up for the discussion, because with so many players out injured, the team pretty much picks itself. Let's see what people are saying in the chat. Can't see us getting Europe. I agree right now. We'll finish above West Ham. Yeah, but 7th place is a cut-off right now. So 8th place probably isn't going to be enough. Poch has nothing to do with Spurs' new stadium. That's all Daniel Levy. Yep. I'll be happy about finishing 8th of the season. I don't think I'd be happy. I don't think, regardless of the issues we've had this season, missing out on European qualification altogether is unacceptable in my view. Next season, I hope we get revenge on Arsenal. Yeah, I'm not thinking about that right now. Poch bottled Carabao Cup final, FA Cup semis, and soon Europe qualifiers. Let's wait and see. Levy run those teams. Maybe you want to look at the generated revenue while Poch was manager before waffling. I don't know if that's me. Too many drop points to relegation level clubs. Yeah, we've only got ourselves to blame. You know, we've had more than enough opportunities to make Europe this season, and we've let ourselves down. We should have 4 more points on the board minimum, and we'd be looking at a totally different situation, and we would be absolutely banging the mix. Now we're on the fringes, and we're requiring other people to mess up. Even us winning all our 5 games might not be enough. That is the problem. Poch got Spurs to a Champions League final. No, that's also true. Colwell's not back. He's back in training, but Colwell is not going to be back in the team tomorrow. No chance. Absolutely no chance in my view. He could make the bench, but yeah, I don't see it. But look, I'm going to dive into the team then, guys. Keep smashing the like button. We're on 62 likes. Let's hit that thumbs up button and get it up to 70 likes, guys. You know, keep smashing the like button. It's free and it really helps me out. So please do that. And if you don't hit that like button, it means that you want Spurs to win tomorrow. And we can't be having any of you thinking that. Back 4 picks itself. Petrovic in goal. With Disasi out, it's going to be, and Disasi and Silva are both out, so it is going to be Badiashile. It's going to be Badiashile and Trevor Chalobah. And do you know what? Badiashile actually had a very good game against Aston Villa. And, you know, that's why I say you always judge a player on quality, not on form, because the best players will always regain their form and show the quality that they have. And Badiashile's had a tough season. He's struggled a lot this season. He's found it hard to get back into his rhythm following a long layoff, not having the most opportunities. But, you know, he was back to his best against Aston Villa. Trevor Chalobah has been brilliant since he's come back into the team. So, yeah, let's see how that partnership does. But, yeah, that's absolutely a key. That's going to be the centre-back pairing. We know that left-back's going to be Marc Correa. I wonder if we're going to see him invert into midfield again, which worked really well against Aston Villa in that second half. I wonder if we'll see that again from Poch, because that works well, and it's something that I think a lot of Chelsea fans would like to see more of. Correa inverting and making it a 3 in midfield along with Gallagher and Caicedo. I'd really like to see more of that. And then at right back, Malagusto and Reece James are both out. Disasi's out. So it means that Gilchrist, I think, having started there against Arsenal, is for me really the only option there. Yes, you could say some academy left backs, but I think there's a 17-year-old in Akampong and another one who's maybe 19 or 20. I can't see having them not being trusted all season or given an opportunity all season. They're not going to suddenly be chucked in for a London derby against Tottenham. That simply isn't going to happen. In the midfield then, how do I feel about Silva leaving? Yeah, gutted. I can't lie, gutted. Yeah, it's going to be emotional, that final game against Bournemouth. I think there'll be a few tears shed, not just from myself, but I think from many people in Stamford Bridge. Yeah, it's a real shame, mate. It's a real shame. But you know, we knew this time was coming. It's just a shame that he's not been off in another year, because I think he could have been really useful and really valuable to the club. But you know, that's the reality of the situation we're in. That's the decision that the club have chosen to take. And there's nothing we can do about it. I don't think he will. Gilchrist, I think, you know, all right, yeah, he got done for that for the opener against Arsenal, but I think in general he's done pretty well this season. In all honesty, so yeah, I don't have an issue with him at right back. Yeah, Chilwell's out. I don't know if he wasn't happy. I've got no idea what his feelings were, but I mean, there's nothing that's been said that would suggest that he's, you know, unhappy at the situation. No, I don't see that as the case at all in my opinion. So yeah, let's wait and see on that front. Let's wait and see on that front, people. What else have we got going on here? Yeah, it's going to be interesting. What players next season will be leadership? Not really sure. I'm going to get into this. Midfield is going to be Moises Caicedo and Conor Gallagher. I thought that worked pretty well against Aston Villa last time. I think in general, and this is no slight on Enzo whatsoever, and this is not me saying that Caicedo is better without Enzo. I'm not saying that at all. But whenever Gallagher and Enzo have played, Gallagher and Caicedo, have played in a pivot together, it's actually worked well, and the performances have been very good. So yeah, I expect to see that again tomorrow. But in terms of the front line, look, the options are threadbare. It's gonna be the same front line which started against Aston Villa, because that is all we've got. So it will be Noni Madueke on the right hand side. It will be Cole Palmer floating in that central position with license to sort of roam around. And I know people might not like it, and I know he had a poor game against Villa, but it will be Mykhailo Mudryk, in my opinion, on that left-hand side. And then it will be Nicholas Jackson leading from the front. And we need him to get some goals. He's only got 2 goals in his last 9 appearances. So we could do with him finding his shooting boots. Sterling, I think, is still injured. So Raheem Sterling's in partial team training, so he's not available. So Sterling won't be playing. It's a decision most of us knew could have happened, but at the same time, it felt like a shock, not going to lie, when watched the message from him. Yeah, mate, me as well. I wasn't ready for that on a Monday morning. Was not ready for that. Got up, obviously doing some work and that, and then see that come through, and I'm like, I wasn't ready for it. It got me. It absolutely got me, which is, not what I was expecting for a Monday morning. But yeah, it just goes to show how important, how much he loves the club, and how much of a bond that he's made with the fans. That's where we're at, people. That is where we're at. But yeah, it was upsetting. Sterling won't be playing. He's not fully fit. I hope we see Enzo what we saw at the World Cup. Let's hope so. I would rather play Casadei. Casadei is not going to play, in my opinion. I'd be staggered if he started. I really would. You can secure. I don't know about what I'm looking at here. Yeah, that's the team that I'd go with. And to be honest, I think it's probably the team that Pochettino goes with as well, because that is pretty much what we've got available. I dread to think what the bench is going to look like tomorrow. It's going to have Casadei on it. It's going to have Casadei, Bettinelli, and then it will have a load of academy players, and that's all we've got available. So the 11 that goes out on the pitch tomorrow, which I think is going to be this 11, is going to have to get the job done, because we have not got any game changers from the bench whatsoever, and that is a problem for us. No game changers on the bench. So I don't know what we're going to do about that, but it is a huge occasion tomorrow night. Unfortunately, I won't be there. I can't make it, but I will be at West Ham on Sunday. I won't be at the game tomorrow, so I will try and bring you a match reaction tomorrow after the game. It'll probably just be a pre-recorded video. It won't be a live, but there should be a match reaction tomorrow night dropping on the channel. And obviously the match vlogs will return on Sunday against West Ham. But yeah, unfortunately, I won't be at the game tomorrow. Can't make it. Nkunku look, he could be named on the bench, but I'd be surprised if him or Colwell play any part tomorrow. Hopefully we get a silver goal in the final game of the season. Hopefully he's just fit to play. We have so many players we have loaned or even kept that deserves a chance to play. Look, it's easy now in hindsight to say, we should have kept XYZ player and we could have used them now. The bench is going to be a problem. The bench will be a problem, and it's going to be down to these guys to get the job done. As simple as that. Just like it's down to you lot to hit that thumbs up button. Guys, we're 5 likes away from 70 likes. I'm going to round out the stream shortly, so please make sure you smash that like button and get this up to 70 likes and do me a massive favour, because if we hit 70 likes, then it's absolutely guaranteed that Chelsea will beat Spurs tomorrow. So smash that thumbs up button, and please do help me out on that front. So yeah, that's the team that I'd go with. And to be honest, I think that's pretty much the team that we have to go with. There's no escaping that. That is the team we have to go with. We need to attack Spurs, get in behind them. They'll leave a lot of space. They play the high line. You know, Madueke and Mudryk can get at those fullbacks. There's no Udogie, there's no Ben Davis. I don't know who's going to play at left back, maybe Emerson Royale. And on the other side, you know, we can obviously, like Mudryk and Madueke are going to be key tomorrow, as is Cole Palmer. We've got enough to beat Tottenham. You know, Tottenham aren't in the best form. We absolutely have got enough to beat Spurs tomorrow. And we just got to turn up and bring our A game and make sure our shooting boots are on. And I feel confident that we can get a positive result tomorrow. We've got a very good record against them at Stamford Bridge. Spurs don't do well at the Bridge. And yeah, I have some. I'll be honest, mate, because he's shit. Did you see him against Wimbledon? He was shocking. You know, he was absolutely awful. He's not ready for this level yet. It's as simple as that. They need one more point. It'll be brilliant. A new ground to go to. It'll be fantastic if they come up. And as I said the other day, you know, if they come up, Hutchinson should stay on loan there again next season and have a full season on loan in the Premier League. That's the team that I go with in terms of score prediction, guys. Yeah, another hat-trick from Jackson would be amazing. In terms of a score prediction, I think we will win. I don't predict us to win very often right now, but it's a London derby against Spurs at Stamford Bridge. Yes, I know we've got 14 players out. They've got players missing as well. Their record is not good at the Bridge. Our record against Tottenham is very good at Stamford Bridge. And I think we will bounce back to some sort of normality in London derbies following the 5-0 loss to Arsenal last week. So, yeah. For me, I am going to go with a 2-1 Chelsea win. Guys, get your score predictions in the chat. Let me know what you're thinking. I'm going 2-1 Chelsea. But, yeah, let's get some score predictions in the chat before I round this one out, guys. What are we saying in the chat? Get a few score predictions in. What are you lot saying? Have we got any score predictions coming? Yeah, I'm going for a narrow 2-1 win. But, yeah, I mean, Jackson hat-trick would be fantastic. I just take one goal from anyone on a clean sheet. I don't care how we win. Let's just get the win. I don't really care who scores. Yeah, it'd be nice for Palmer to try and move himself back level with Haaland or even overtake him in the race for the Golden Boot. But yeah, let's wait and see. 3-2 Chelsea, 2-1, 3-2, 3-2. I see an exciting draw, 2-2 robbed by VAR again. Hopefully not. We've got a few 2-2s coming in. I think it's a game that's we got a 3-1 Chelsea. I think it's a game that's certainly going to have a lot of goals in it and a lot of action as well. We've got another 3-2 Chelsea coming in there as well. Yeah, guys, it's going to be an exciting evening at Stamford Bridge. Hopefully we can get back to winning ways, having not had any wins in our last couple of games. We need this win. Let's hope that we can get it. Anyway, guys, I'll be bringing you my match reaction video dropping after the game tomorrow. Unfortunately, I cannot make the game. I'll be at West Ham on Sunday and I'll be at Nottingham Forest away the following weekend as well. But yeah, I just can't make this game against Spurs tomorrow night. So make sure you stay tuned for the match reaction dropping tomorrow after the game. Of course, a defeat, dare we think about it, would have massive repercussions for Pochettino. It would end our European hopes, would be finished. And yeah, it would mean the last 4 games don't really mean anything. And it could have a huge impact on his future. But let's stay positive. I'm going for a 2-1 Chelsea win. And yeah, let's hope for the best. And let's hope we get stuck into Spurs and we see them off and we do what we always do and beat Tottenham. Anyway, guys, thanks for tuning in. Smash the like button on the way out. Hit the subscribe button if you haven't done so already. If you're new around here, enjoy the rest of your evening. And I'll catch you guys again tomorrow. Up the Chelsea and peace out, people.